So when you were talking about the vaccine, you kind of mentioned you mentioned something that it's kind of like been an issue as well with some of the clients that I deal with. So you were saying that that the vaccine will eradicate the disease. It sounded like kind of like after they already have it. So my question is, so the vaccine won't keep someone from getting it. It just kind of like assuages the effects of it. Is that what I'm taking from it?
You hit the nail on the head, right? So the vaccine doesn't, place a shield around you that will stop you from, inhaling particles that have the virus. What it does is it gives you the defenses required to protect yourself from the virus making you sick and ultimately causing disease. So you said that absolutely right. So, and I just wanted to reiterate because that's a huge point, which is why even if you are vaccinated, you still need to wear a mask because though you won't get sick, you may still be able to pass the virus on to someone else, and that person may have not had an opportunity to be vaccinated yet. That's an excellent point, and yes, you're absolutely right.
Mrs. Elmore, would you like to go next, or say the
Hey,
best for last, y'all?
my name is Bessie Elmore, and I run a transitional house for justice involved individuals returning from prison. And I've been doing that now for about 3 years, but I've been involved in the criminal justice resource, whatever, reentry program for about 27 years since I've been here in Durham. And I've worked with men and women returning from prison. I worked in the jails. I've worked in the federal prison. I've, I've done reentry. And I'm very interested in, of course, this vaccine and how it may impact the community and for the individuals that I serve at our house. My question is, and I have surveys from my house. We did surveys with the guys, but there's two parts to the vaccine.
Mm-hmm,
So you have to take the first one,
mm-hmm.
and then, well, and then in 2 weeks, or is it a month that you need to get the next shot?
That's correct. But that won't be the case with the Johnson and Johnson vaccine. That will just be one dose. But with the vaccines that are currently available, you are absolutely right. So the first shot will only get you about 50% protection from developing severe disease. It is not until you get that second shot until you can get up to 95 and 96 protection. So yes, you're right. It's two parts. You get that first shot, and then yes, either 21 or 28 days later, you have to get that second shot. You're
So
absolutely
you, so you're saying that that's a must that you need to get the second shot.
yes, you have to get the second shot.
Okay,
Um,
here's the issue. Okay, the guys at our house can stay up to 120 days. That's possible that it could be extended. They could stay longer. But if you get the first shot and then you leave our house and you need to get the second shot, but you don't get the second shot, then the first shot really didn't do you any good.
well, that
So
first
how would we track? I guess it would be up to us to be able to track people, to stay in touch with them, to let them know you need to get the second shot.
yes, that would be best to set up a system where they could get the second shot. And then I don't want to talk about it as if we don't have those other vaccine candidates that are should be coming out, which are just one shot. So the first point is yes. Um, it would be I think it would be imperative to have some kind of way to get individuals back to get their second shot. Um, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I can go into the surveys that we took, that most of the guys at our house took.
Okay.
And The majority of the guys, we did this survey twice. The first time we did this survey, half was yes, half was no. Then we went back and we did some more discussion about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the most of the guys who have health issues said they want the shot. The guys that quote unquote don't have any health issues that they know of said they don't need it. They don't see the point in taking it. Now, our job at our house is not to convince anyone to take it or not to take it. We want to be able to offer them the best information that they have to be able to make a good decision on whether or not they want to take the shot. Now, in my case, because I'm in that age range of 65 and up, I'm going to get the Moderna only because of the information that I read about the Moderna. But then when I get it in 2 weeks, my doctor, of course, will let me know when to come back to get the second shot. So I've asked a lot of questions of my doctor because I trust my doctor. And I think with most people, if you have a relationship with your doctor, then you'll be able to ask these questions and get valid answers to your questions and feel more comfortable about taking this vaccine. And I think for the Black community, that's what we lack. We don't have enough information. And we have a lot of questions based on history has taught us that we need to know more than what you're just giving me. Just like you said, that Johnson & Johnson is coming out with a vaccine and you only have to do it one time. Well, why is Pfizer's have to be at a temperature, at a certain temperature, but Moderna doesn't. And now you're saying that Johnson, and I'm not putting this all on you, but I'm just saying, these are questions that's going to be asked.
Yeah, so mRNA is not stable, and it is degraded, or it can be destroyed really, really quickly. Whereas protein and DNA are really stable. And so you don't have to go through those same kind of protection protocols because those are more stable. mRNA can be destroyed really, really quickly. And so that is part of the reason that those have to be kept cold, whereas the Johnson & Johnson and Novavax, they do not. So that's the biggest reason. And I just want to say, because this is being recorded, that I can't force anybody to take the vaccine. However, it is my job to convince you to take the vaccine, not just to give you information. I will definitely give you information, but if I can convince you to take the vaccine, that is even better. But I can't make anybody take the vaccine. This is really important because on one hand, you have a vaccine, but on another hand, you have a virus, and that virus has killed 500,000 people. The majority of those people disproportionately look just like you and me.
Yes.
And you have to weigh out your options. Do you want to go with this vaccine that you may not have that much information about? Or do you want to go with a known quantity responsible for killing over 440,000 people? Which one do you want to go with? One of the things that I also want to encourage people is that we have people who are hesitant, but we don't have anybody who is questioning the vaccine that is hooked up to a ventilator. You see what I'm saying? It's quite easy to kind of push back against something when you're healthy, right? When you're healthy, you're fit, and you're young. Some of those things make you feel like you can kind of take on the world.
I get
Oh
all
yes,
of
go
that.
ahead. Yes.
I get all of that, what you're saying. I really do. And when I'm discussing it within the house and I'm talking to the guys at the house about taking this vaccine, because the majority of the gentlemen at our house are Black, and we're talking about it, and their hesitancy was because, well, I don't know anything about it and I don't trust this vaccine. So, well, I can let them know, well, I'm gonna take it, but that's me. And I'm pretty healthy, but conveying that over, and I understand your point, trying to convince people to take this vaccine because it's better to take it than not take it.
Mhm.
We're running the risk.
Mhm.
I don't know what words to use to stress that to my guys at the house.
Yeah. Well, I will say, and I want to go back to an earlier point. Um, right now, our biggest issue is not vaccine hesitancy. That's not the overall largest issue why Black people aren't getting vaccinated, right? Because, like I said, the group of people who are 65 years and over, the hesitancy amongst that group, as just like you said with yourself, is a lot lower than people who are younger than that group.
Mhm.
And I just want to just make it very clear that though people in our community are hesitant with taking the vaccine, I want in no way for it to be construed that the inequity that we're seeing with only 8% of North Carolina being vaccinated or Black is somehow the fault of the Black community, right? That's not the fault. Yes, we want to provide information, and yes, we want to try to convince people. We do want to do that, and thank God that you're doing that work and providing people with information. Because even if you don't convince everyone, you'll change one person's mind, and that's a life that is still precious and still important. But it is not our fault that these inequities exist, right? The distribution of the vaccine is not equitable. And so that's just one thing that I really want to impress during this meeting is that yes, people are reluctant to take the vaccine because there's trust and safety concerns and there's a lack of information. That's true. However, that is not the reason why we have such a low percentage of Black North Carolinians vaccinated. So we have to keep providing information, but it's really time that the institutions responsible for the vaccine rollout and implementation, they need to start pulling their weight as well. We're going beyond halfway, going into communities, providing information, doing these town halls, right? But as I say, there's no shortage of demand. There are wait lists of Black people who qualify for the current stage that we're on, wait lists, and they can't get vaccinated. They leave a message, and the message recording says, leave your name, your contact information, and we'll get in contact with you within 72 hours. 3 weeks later, they're still trying to get a phone call back. That's not our fault. That is not the fault of vaccine hesitancy. That is not the fault that we don't have information. That is a system who is failing to distribute vaccines to the most marginalized and vulnerable communities. That is the most important thing. I know that doesn't necessarily address what you're trying to do, which is provide information, as much information as possible, but you are doing your job. It's time for other institutions to do their job. And that is the reason why so few of us are being vaccinated.